Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Greg again with a long-awaited first update on the buddy build from me military mod by Paul, which is the Blitz TAKOM JAGDTIGER late or early, whichever you're going to build. Mine's more of a hybrid type thing. Yeah, I suppose it is. What it's going to finish up being anyhow. As far as the build was concerned, I know the plate wasn't a massive problem. The front mantle of the plate was not a massive problem like people make it out to be. It really wasn't. You know, sometimes, I know it's a new kit, I know it's a big balls that was made, but I've seen worse kits at higher prices. Generally speaking, not seam lines, but if we are modelers, we have the skills to do these things, so, you know, we don't want to go along the lines of just, well, no disrespect to Tamiya, but shake and bake, you know. We want something to work at and produce something at the end of it from, you know, by adding detail yourself, or you know, just doing little bits and pieces. So I don't mind building kits like this, not at all. In fact, I found it quite an enjoyable kit to build. So let's start where we're going to start with first. The build is complete, well, as far as complete is concerned, before we're doing the priming and things like that. I haven't done the wheels. I've trimmed them all and sanded them all and got them all ready to go. That's all the sets of wheels, and they're all labelled. We've got all those. We've got both sets of swing arms and the wheels. What else? We've got the spare track. Well, I'm using metal track, as you know, so we've got all the spare tracks in there and the gun cradle in there at the moment. All the hubs for the wheels are all cleaned up and ready to be put on again. They're all done. With the PE set that we've got, there is along the top we got the hooks for the for angled camera adding sorry, still got this the cough. I'll show you when we get to them, but I didn't realise until I looked at them, these are minute, but they will be going on. If you can maybe make them out in there. I just need a little bit of clean up and they're going to be put on. It's camouflage hooks and things like for that, you know, adding camera netting and things like that along with tops. I didn't realise they were on the sprue, sorry, the PE set until after I made my own, which are somewhere along here somewhere. Let's have a look. Here we are. I made my own, so in there, and I've got a washer in there. Sorry, I made my own as well. I didn't realise they were actually there with the PE sprue. So, you know, an exercise anyhow. I've still got some more if I need to. And as far as other things are concerned, we have in here, this pot here. I'm going to take some out individually. There's my tweezers. Where's my tweezers? Decent pair of tweezers somewhere. In here I've cleaned up all the tools, so with the tanker bar and the big bar that goes along the top, and then I'm using 3D printed tool clamps and things like that because I'm sick to death of losing so many PE parts. So I've just decided to go with the 3D clamps. So I've actually added them to them as well. If you can, let me just see. On there, I've got one on there as well at the moment. You can see that. And these are the heavy hobby ones which fit the tools as well. Some I've got some where that actually you have to sand the tool down a little bit to get the clamps to hold, to fit. And here we have for the exhaust at the bottom. I've got the exhaust done here, which have been textured as well, and seam line taken out. I may do what Paul's done. Paul has drilled it out a bit more and added a plastic piece of thing into there to make it deeper. I may go along that route yet, I haven't decided. Yeah, so we have on the lead version as well, I think it's just a lead version, we have a a towing point as well, which is made up and textured again. Let's just put these bits down there. This is like 4 parts, so I've textured it and got rid of a seam and one thing and another, and that fits between the exhausts. On the exhaust you have to cut the bolts off, and obviously you've got them added onto here as onto these parts instead. If you can see these 3 bolts down here, so you take the 3 bolts off the exhaust manifold at the very bottom, and you add that to it, so you don't I'll explain as we go down to the tank. I've made my own cleaning rods out of copper pipe and some brass wire, just to represent the, you know, the thready part on the back. So I've got those made up as well. What else? The MG is cleaned up, and I've added the obligatory hole at the end of the barrel. You can see that. There we are. You can see that. So it's not a bad rendition of the MG34. So that's obviously to go on the rear. That is the handle, the mount for the machine gun as well. It took a bit of cleaning. That was quite, I must admit, that was quite difficult to clean, to get in there and get all the seam lines out, but I managed. On the lead version which I'm doing, it has 2 handles on the hatch, which has been textured, and added my own with brass wire, copper wire, whichever, whatever it is. So there's 2 of those. Added this is the little tow cable that goes around one of the engine, the vent on the engine. That's to be added and painted, obviously. The usual things in there, the shovels in there, the axe is in there. I'm not going to put all the tools on. Added texture again, and small handle to the commander's hatch at the top. Made 2 obligatory buckets, so 3D printed ones and a bit of little wire just for the handles. So I made 2 of those. Anything else in here? Yeah, just some of the tools I may not use yet, but I've added the little clasps to them in that as well, so they can be added if I decide to go along that route by putting them on. Some of the later versions of these tanks didn't have any tools at all. They would just sort of send out as a word and crack on, as they say. Got the shackles in there as well. They're all cleaned up and they're all ready to be put on. I've got 2 on the back at the moment. Yeah, I haven't got the front ones on yet because I haven't fastened the lower hull and up all together. So that's all that stuff that's in there, and there's a few bits of PE in there which needs to be added as well as we're going along. Let me just pop all these back into here. It was an enjoyable build, it really was. I really enjoyed the build. I've got 5 figures to go on. 3 of them are finished. 1 is 99% finished, and 1 I've just sort of started to paint today. I'll just pop all these in there so I've got them. Right, so that's that. Well, there's another 2 bits as well. Yeah, they took a bit of cleaning up because there's a bit of seam line on them, but you know, we have the tools to do these things, so we carry on and do them. Oh yeah, I've got I'm going to put 1 tow cable on, and the track cable, which is this one, which is the center wire one, which we've got here. So that's going to be sort of twisted and bent round as an unusual angle instead of it being all neat and tidy. And again, we've got 1 of the tow cables again, which is going to be added as well. So I'll put them back up there so I know where they are. Obviously ready to be primed. Right, figures. I've also stretched a piece of I'll show you first. Stretched a piece of, no I didn't actually, I used wire in the end, and I've just coated it with copper, brass, and I've just given it a gloss coat of varnish I'm going to give it one more, and I'm going to chip these all up. I'm going to use these like for the spent cartridges for the MG at the back. So I wasn't going to buy any, going to make my own, so that's to be done. They've all to be, I said, another coat of varnish on those, and then I'll just use me old nippers and cut them off to length. And I've done 3 brass shells. These are actually brass shells, but I've weathered them up as well, so it'll be on the back of the engine deck as well. These are used, I use the, what did I use? I actually use these shaders that I've got. I used a grime and a black. I just built it up as I went along. Don't know how realistic it's going to be, but look, it'll look good against the engine deck. So there's 3 of those, all different sort of varying amounts of weathering. I say they're all there anyhow. I just didn't want to throw just brass shells as they were on the back there, so I just thought I'd make it dirty them up a bit. Right, what else? Tracks. You've seen the tracks, have you? No, you want to see, you've seen them. So I've just actually put them onto the track jig to make sure I had the right amount of tracks on there, so they're ready to be burnished at some point. Easy to build. The only thing with these ones I got, there was a pin mark in between the middle of a track, so a couple of wisps of file and they were gone, so it wasn't a big deal. It was just unusual to see, but I got them for next to nothing anyhow, so I can't really complain. So that's those. Right, we'll go to the figures first, ones that are finished. So we've got 3 tank crew and then we've got a German soldier at the moment, so we've got these ones here at the moment. These are the ones, Tusk models these are. I'm quite impressed with them, to be honest. They're really quite nice, detailed. Took me a while to paint them, but I was quite happy with the end result on these ones. And look at the rear as well. I need to add a cigarette to the guy with his arm sticking out slightly. I've locked one end of his cigarette off. The guy in the centre, well, the one with his arm on his wrist, and it's cigarette inside his hand but not on the outside. I've knocked that off, so I'll have to make another one of those. And I've added a strap to this guy's binoculars, if you can make them out, on there. And I've also, I don't know if you can make it out or not, I might not be able to. I've added a bit of gloss to the, where are we at, can we see them? Where are we at? Binoculars in that hand there. I've added a bit of that arm glass stuff I've got and a bit of wet effect on there. Basically gloss, just on the end of the binoculars. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with those 3-4 figures. Done. This one's not quite finished yet. The German soldier not quite finished. He has to be dust on her hair. Have to make sure that's all off before we give it a coat of varnish. Yeah, and the other one I've got as well is, I've just started that one today. I primed it yesterday. I've just got the dark tanker's uniform colour on there. This is like a canvas colour, this on here, I don't know what it is, but I'll be painting that next. So that's the last figure that's going to be on there. They're sort of going to be in a relaxed pose, as you can see by them all. They're not sort of fighting. Yeah, so that was a trust figure as well. I may add a couple of, I've added a couple, well, painted up a couple of crates. I may add them to the back. I'm not 100% sure yet. Not 100% sure. And there's a fuel can there as well, jerry can. So I may add that. I'm not too sure. I'll see as we go along. So I might just, I was toying with the idea to sort of just pick these crates up and they're gonna put them inside the hatch, inside the back doors, which I've left ajar at the moment, so you'll see when I get to the main, to the JAGDTIGER itself. Yeah, so I may add those, may not. So I'll just pop these out of the way for now, and then we'll get to the main part. Right. I'll just disassemble it so it's all, let's take it off there. We'll start off with the lower hull first. As you can just, this is the this was made, I think, was it definitely made for this version? I can't remember if I bought it for this one, but it fitted perfectly with no adjustments to be needed. I'd measured it and it was fine. So that's in there with epoxy, epoxy glue in there to hold that. As you can see, I've added the weld seams underneath. I missed the nightshade, or night shift, what I was calling nightshade, night shift. But I was going to plan to do them myself anyhow, but there we go. And again underneath there, we've added some PE rear mud guards, a piece to go on here, which it's going to be bent up slightly, and one hasn't got one on the other side. Obviously the engine deck's been textured, sorry, the rear has been textured. We've fitted the light on there, which obviously is going to be painted that bluey, I think it's a bluey colour, isn't it, if I'm not mistaken, on there. There's not much, there's no on the late version, hybrid sort of version I'm doing, there's no jack block, there's no jack. Basically we've got the two C shoes on there and the exhausts, and that's it. That's on the rear of that one. And again we've added weld seams around those where they've been welded together. I didn't add the ones to the side because they were quite good on there, on these parts there. I thought I'll just leave those as they were. Textured, you see as well, with flame cut on these parts. They've all been flame cut, as well as the rear ones. You may not be able to see the rear ones as well. They've all been cut with a hobby knife and glue on there. Right, so that's that. Right, onto the main upper hull. As you can see, I've done a lot of work on this. I've had actually weld seams around the track hooks. I've just placed a couple of these, just test fitting these 3D printed tool clamps and things, so I've just tested that and that fits perfectly. Added the clamps on there for all the hooks and bit of this, that and the other. Again, we've got them on there as well. That's part of the shovel. If I put the shovel on, that's just as if it's empty. On the front, we've got weld seams and textured the front as well. Added the light and just used the plastic okay, we cleaned that up and used that, no problem at all. Again, we've just got one of the mudguard bits twisted off and the other one's completely snapped off, and added these were made from bits of XPE that was left, so they were made there. And you can see all the weld seams again on the front. I lost the hatch cover for that, so I just scratched around in my old Tiger box and King Tiger box, and I found I used for a Meng one, you can see by the colour, so I've just added that. And I've added the weld seams along the sides of those as well, as you can see. Again, MG's movable, well it was, it's not now, not really bothered, you can still see it. And again the weld seams on the front. On the top we have a bit of PE, and I've added weld seams around certain parts, and these, I'm not 100% what these are, but I've added weld seams around them. Look like sort of, I don't know, but there's two there. You can see the weld seams again, and there's two on the side, on each side as well, which I've added a weld seam. And see where I've marked these off, these where I've taken off the kit produced ones. That's what I was saying about those minute handles to add. So I've marked them off with a pen or pencil, whatever it was, to add those. I might add them before I prime it, which is more common sense to do, really. I'm just trying to knock them off. But if I knock them off, I'll just have to replace them. So that's to be added. I've textured the side as well. That's all textured. Engine deck, again I've used welding around there with the weld seams again on the hinges on the engine cover, around those two parts there. This is from the early version, but I've obviously got late parts on it as well. I've damaged up the PE. This is a PE that came with the PE set. I got it from Yam. Is it Yam? Brilliant PE, instructions rubbish, absolute rubbish. You have to work it out and find out how you well, parts like this are fine, no problem at all. It's just all the small bits that you have to sort of, don't give you any clear instructions on how to build them and make them. Engine, the rear doors are movable. I'm just going to sort of keep them at a hinge like that because there's no interior, but I'm going to put maybe a couple of boxes here just as if they're going to be loaded into there. Again, texture of the doors, that was a bit of clean up on those. And again on the other side, which is, I've done that side, haven't we? And on this side is where we got the, on here where the pen marks again on the rear there where the little hooks go as well. So we've got all the hair on there. Look, where's all that come from? It was undercover. Right. Yeah, they're quite nice, these 3D printed ones. These aren't heavy armour. Which are these ones? I can't remember what they're called. Who were they? I put them away now, so I can't remember it well. If I remember, I'll leave a link in the description where I got them from. They were off eBay anyhow, so it took me a while to get all the welds around those track hangers, but I'm quite pleased with them as well. Yeah, so that's where we are at the moment. So we've got everything's ready to be primed as far as the vehicle is concerned. So that'll probably be my next step once I get those little handles on the tops and on the rear, and there's 3 on the front I think as well to add as well. So it's a nice fit. The engine, the top hatch, the top hull and the bottom will fit really nicely together. Anything else we've got to add to the one I've just said? So, oh yeah, I obviously did the texture of the mantlet, I did the weld seam to that, and on the picture there's actual casting marks over the casting mark as well. So that name came from an old Academy kit where you cut them from the the plastic sprue, so I've just added those to them as well, and that sits nicely over the barrel. I've got my permanently fastened once I've got the bottom hull and lower hull finished, but I've got the, oh no, there isn't, there's the, because there's glass parts or clear parts or one of it, well, the periscopes to add. No, they weren't clear, they were just plastic, so what I've done with them is I've just painted them off-white and then armour glaze, and I've got to add a bit more it's a gloss varnish just to the glass parts on there, and they'll be added before the lower hull and upper hull together. I may leave them off completely until I've painted it, because the lower hull will go together really nicely, so I may just leave them after it's complete instead of masking them off as well. So I may go along that route yet, undecided. Yeah, so I think that's where we are with the vehicle at the moment. So not a big deal with the front plate. Took a bit of cleaning up, but not, you know, nothing that you can't clamp and use and make. I never cut out anything. I just trimmed it slightly at the bottom and clamped it, and it worked fine. I found I trimmed down the top as well. Obviously that was protruding, but it isn't now. So off the mat, that's just flush with the sorry, with the top. Oh, I forgot to show you some weld marks as well, didn't we? Sorry, cutting marks as well on the top of here as well. They're all marked to see where the pen marks are again. That's where the clamps, the handles go. Yeah, so far so good. So far so good. It's took quite a while to get to the point. I'm going to do a small sort of vignette stroke diagram. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to position it all yet, but I have a couple of things in my head that I'd like to try and do. Anything else? I think that's it where we are for this first update on the JAGDTIGER. Yeah, I think that's it. So again, thank you very much for stopping by and viewing. I thank you again to all my new subscribers and old subscribers. I do appreciate your comments, I really do. I do read them all. I have started replying to some, well, most of them on certain ones, but I'll go back to the last one. Sorry, the one where I did the unboxing of the new Sherman Easy 8 from Ryefield, one with Thunderbolt. Yeah, so I say what I'll do next now, after this obviously it's built and I've told you how I think it's gone together, and I said there's no major fit issues apart from the front plate, which wasn't that major. Add your details as you go, as yourself, depending on what you want to do and what you don't want to do. Yeah, so what I'll do now is I'll prime it and give it its base coat, whatever I think I'm going to do with it. And then we'll come back and see where we are from there. I'll burnish the tracks, get the finished completely figures, finished completely this little one. Did I show you the one? I did, didn't I? And the boxes I'll finish off as well. I do have some spare storage, bits and pieces from other vehicles that I've built that I've never used, but I don't think there's much storage on these things in here. I've got all these left, see, there's bits of boxes, and there's a few there is off that truck that I did for the Tiger vehicle, and we got some, all them are all done in there, small bits, all sorts in there. I may use some of those, I may not, probably won't, but they're there if I needed. Right, so I think that's it. I've got my Christmas tree on my desk, that's there, and I've got some lights off the missus I'm going to put up later on just around the tops. Yeah, so that's where we are. So I think Paul is doing the same thing as well today. He's doing his first update, and I think we're going to release them together around about 6 o'clock on a Monday evening UK time. So I shall get this up and done now, and then we'll go from there. So once again, thank you very much for stopping by and viewing, and thank you again to my subscribers and new subscribers. Welcome aboard. I hope you continue to like what I do. But I keep saying I should do more how-tos, but there's that many on there, isn't it? I don't do anything different to anybody else. This is the thing, I'll do slightly, but not major differences. So I suppose I could do a couple of how I do things, or how I don't do things, whichever the case may be. So I promise I will. If anybody wants to know how I've done a certain thing on here, or would like to know how I've done the figures, I'm not a figure painter by far, but I'm just getting tips of people that are good figure painters and excellent figure painters, and I'm just sort of getting into my own sort of style of them. And so far they seem to be okay. These figures I'm quite very happy with. Yeah, well, I used to hate painting figures. That's why I never put money on when I first started doing things, but after some good help and colours to use for certain things, and yeah, so I've just sort of done my own sort of style, if you know what I mean. I'm not perfect by a long way, but I'm happy with them. Anyhow, I'm starting to waffle, so we shall catch you very soon with the second update of when it's primed and base coated. So this is Greg signing off, and we'll catch you very, very soon with the other update. I may have an unboxing in between them, so we'll see. So this is Greg signing off, and we'll see you soon.